I can see blue lips. Blue lips.
When it comes to professional sports, particularly in contact or collision sports, where athletes purposely hit each other to attain certain points, the anticipation prior to the actual match can be fully entertaining in itself. Leading to the big fight night, athletes and their camps participate in pre-event promotions, where oftentimes things can get out of hand, especially when the amount of trash-talking and mind games go way overboard. One of the most eventful things that people look forward to prior to the main event is the official weigh-in and the eventual face-to-face stare-down between the two contenders. While sometimes we can witness actual brawls and fights that occur during these face-offs, oftentimes we're blessed with moments that are genuinely comedic. Hello everyone, and welcome to Everything Sports. In today's video, we're taking a look at 10 of the funniest stare-down moments in sports. Before we jump into it, don't forget to click the like button, share, subscribe, and press the notification bell for more updates just like this one. Number 10. Mike Perry vs. Hyun-Gyu Lim. In August of 2016, Mike Perry faced against South Korean Hyun-Gyu Lim in a welterweight bout as part of the main card for UFC 202. Prior to the match, after officially weighing in, they were both called to face each other for the ceremonial face-off. With UFC President Dana White in between the two fighters, Mike Perry seemingly offered a friendly handshake, but before Hyun could meet with his hand, Perry pulled away and went into a fighting stance while screaming in front of his opponent. The moment was rather surprisingly funny, especially with Hyun and Dana White themselves trying to contain their laughter after being jolted by the act. Number 9. Paige Van Zandt and Michelle Waterson. In the lead for the UFC on Fox 22 main event between women's strawweight contenders Michelle Waterson and Paige Van Zandt, one can say that the face-off was, particularly in this case, quite bubbly. In 2016, Van Zandt had recently completed and reached the finals on Dancing with the Stars, gaining second place with her and her partner's dance moves. It seemed that the dancing spirit continued to overwhelm the fighter, when instead of going into the face-off in the usual serious and intimidating tone, she was all smiles and met her opponent with dance moves instead of threatening talk. Michelle Waterson welcomed what seemed to be a dance-off instead, and started busting moves of her own until they started passing moves off each other until Waterson brought out the sprinkler, ending the match before the actual fight with both fighters smiling and hugging it out before taking their fighter stance for the ceremonial photo. Number 8. Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Golden Girl the Chicken. May 5th, 2007 is considered by many to be the day of the fight that made the great Floyd Mayweather. This was the date of his fight against Oscar the Golden Boy de la Hoya, when Mayweather truly showed the level of infamous villainy when he would later be known for throughout his career. As the hype of their fight went into full force, Mayweather went to a promotional appearance event and called out to one of his wingmen to, quote, "Bring Oscar up here," end quote. A member of his entourage showed and brought a live chicken up on stage, with the cage bird wearing a gold medal around its neck and a sign on top that said Golden Girl, with the props being a double dig at De La Hoya, mocking the Golden Boy and his 1992 Olympic gold medal. Mayweather then took the chicken out of its cage and menacingly faced off with it while clucking. Number 7. Jon Jones and Anthony Johnson. At the highly anticipated UFC Light Heavyweight Championship match between Jon Jones and Anthony Johnson at UFC 187, many were looking forward to the clash of these high-caliber titans. However, during the official weigh-ins and the stare-down that occurred thereafter, no one expected a preemptive clash would be remembered in UFC history to be the time that a prank was made on UFC President Dana White. After both fighters had been weighed and cleared for the match, Dana White called them to center stage for their ceremonial face-off, when suddenly, a fight seemingly started to commence between the two fighters, as Dana White jumped in between the two to stop the skirmish. However, instead of trash-talking or punches being thrown, both fighters erupted in laughter as they revealed to White that it was merely a prank as he stormed off stage, shaken but clearly amused. Number 6. Angela Hill. Former Invicta Strawweight Division champion Angela Overkill Hill is a huge fan of video games and has a love for cosplay. She demonstrated this at the weigh-in for her bout with Jessica Andrade at UFC 104, where she showed up wearing an eye patch that marked her short hair in tribute to Sagat, a character in the much-loved video game Street Fighter. As she faced Andrade during the stare-down, she held a serious face while bobbing on one foot in a Muay Thai stance that's similar to Sagat's. Hill even did Sagat's victory pose right after. Apparently, this isn't the first time she's donned a Street Fighter costume on the UFC stage, when she appeared in an earlier fight as Dalsum, complete with skulls, bracelets, and loincloth. Number 5. Manny Pacquiao and Brandon Rios. When you're one of the most known boxers on the planet, anything you do can become big news. In the lead-up to his fight against Brandon Rios in 2013, Manny the Pac-Man Pacquiao found himself disoriented when he turned the wrong way instead of facing his opponent, and instead faced the ring girl behind him. This led to laughter from everyone in the hall, including the two fighters themselves. Number 4. Tony Ferguson and Kevin Lee. At the weigh-in for UFC 216, the mood between opponents Tony Ferguson and Kevin Lee were like night and day. Kevin Lee came to the show all serious, while Tony arrived wearing sunglasses and listening to music on his earphones. When the time came that they had to face each other, Kevin wanted to be in Tony's face, but was pushed away by Dana White while Tony was in a completely different space, grooving and singing along to his music. Even while Lee was saying stuff away from the microphone, Ferguson kept with a good vibe and just told Lee that, quote, he talks too much, end quote. Number 3. Anthony Perosh and Sean O'Connell. After the weigh-in for the light heavyweight match between Anthony Perosh and Sean O'Connell for UFC Fight Night 65, instead of getting things to an intense point while staring into the eyes of his opponent, O'Connell decided to have some fun. While both their hands were hoisted up for the fighter stance, O'Connell immediately went into a game of rock, paper, scissors with Perosh. The impromptu game ended with O'Connell throwing a paper and celebrated with his hands in the air. Number 2. Michael Page and Evangelista Santos. The fight between Michael Venom Page and Evangelista Cyborg Santos may be remembered for the Pokemon Go finish that Page did after the fight, and the serious injury that Cyborg retained due to the intense knee strikes to the head. But Page's playful nature was already in full display even during the pre-fight. At the weigh-in and ceremonial face-off for Bellator 158, Page was dancing and glancing at his opponent, Cyborg Santos, who, like his moniker, kept with a serious face all throughout. The sight of a serious fighter standing beside a dancing instigator just cracked everyone up. Number 1. Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman. Touted as the biggest UFC fight of 2013, rivals Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman faced off against each other for UFC 162. Prior to the big fight during the customary stare-down, after making weight, the competitors faced each other, with not one seeming to keep their space and back down. The two pressed towards each other, with their faces getting closer and closer, far too close for comfort for many. It got to a point that their lips clearly made contact. The kiss from the Spider Silva became huge headlines, while Weidman complimented Silva for having nice lips in an interview with Joe Rogan about the controversial face-off. So what do you think about these 10 funniest stare-down moments in sports? We'd love to hear what you think about them by commenting down below. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that like button, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell for more interesting videos just like this one.